Hi, Steve Mills here, and welcome back to my podcast, the first podcast of 2019. Most people, when they spread messages, certainly around this time of year, like to do so in a very positive manner. You know, it's, Happy New Year, and, make things great next year, and I wish you a Happy New Year. And, of course, I do all things, but at the same time, this message behind this podcast is, oh, shit. It's 2019, and it's a new year. It's a new opportunity, certainly. But the question is are we ready for it? What are we going to try to achieve? Or more specifically, what are you going to try to achieve in 2019? Let me tell you one thing right now. Most people, most business owners don't have a clue regarding the answer to that question. And if they do, it's very vague. They'll tell me, I'm going to try and, I'm going to grow my business, Steve, and I'd like to lose a bit of weight, and, I might take up a new sport, or, I want to increase sales. And do you know what? That's just, in a way, it's just bullshit, because we all know it never happens. And until and unless you A, write down the goal, B, set a timeline to it, C, make sure it's it's something that's actually specific, but to increase sales, here's a pound, get out of here, you don't need to do that anymore. Increase sales by what? If you're going to increase sales in 2019, what's it going to go from and to? So in other words, setting goals. Now, I know you're thinking, he's on about goals, I'm not doing this and so on. But one thing I want to be really clear about, and this is a proven fact, and that is that people with goals achieve more than people who don't have them. Which group do you want to be in? It take you, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. Perhaps you could probably put in a bit more time and a bit more effort. But let's just say we're going to do something. Let's just say that you're going to set 6 goals as a result of listening to this podcast. And these are business goals. Let's forget, health and family and relationships and all those really important things that are far more important than my business and your business. If we don't have our health and our relationships and family and friends and so on and so forth, then really we don't have anything. But let's just assume that what we're going to do here is talk about business. So I'm going to give you 6 really important goals for you to consider. And the first one is, what are you going to turn over this year? In 2019, let's forget, my year end is in April, Steve. Let's just think for a moment about 2019. What are you going to try to achieve in terms of your turnover? Is that a 10% increase? I really hope not. I hope it's much more than that. Is it 50? Is it 100? Is it 200? You'd like to grow your business by 5 times? Now, one thing I will tell you about this is, if you got a 5% or a 10% increase, then, is that really going to get you to take action? Is it really going to get your arse off your seat? Are you really going to put in the massive action in order to improve your business, like doubling it would? The answer is absolutely no. Wouldn't it be awful if you set a goal to double your business in 2019 and you only achieve 60% of it? You probably sat there thinking, no, it would be fantastic, Steve. If I got a 60% growth in my business, I'd be over the moon. Now, let me be clear here. I'm not talking about, the Vodafones of this world, obviously doubling the size of a massive international corporate, may or may not be achievable. I'm talking about a small business here, maybe one turning over, a few 100,000, something like that. Or maybe you're a startup, and you started last year and you turned over, 30,000, and you'd really like to double it to 60 or maybe even 100. I'm talking about that sort of level. So what are you going to do over the next year to increase turnover. What's your goal? Number 2, what's your profit going to be? Because the old saying is that turnover is vanity and profit is sanity. So in other words, what are you going to achieve in terms of profit next year? Again, that's really important stat. And there's a brilliant book that you might want to buy called Profit First. I strongly recommend your first investment in improving you in 2019 should be to buy and, more importantly, read that book. It's called Profit First, and you can buy it on Amazon. So go and find it. Number 3, how many leads do you need in order to create that turnover and profit? So if you're let's say your average unit of sale is £1,000 and you'd like to turn over £1 million, then you're going to need 1,000 sales. So what do you convert in terms of lead to sale? So if you convert 50% of your leads into sales, then that's easily worked out that you're going to need 2,000 sales to get 1,000 leads of £1,000, which is going to equal £1 million. So it's just do the millionaire maths and work out what you need to achieve in terms of leads. So if you're going to achieve that many leads, how many calls do you need to make? So if you need to get 1,000 leads, and you know that for every one phone call that you make, let me change that. And you know for every one sale that you make, it takes 10 calls, and you've got to get 1,000 leads, then you've got to make... Actually, I've got that maths wrong. Let me just say that again. If you're going to get 2,000 leads, and you're going to get them all by getting on the phone, then that means you're going to have to make 20,000 calls. Now, again, it depends how big your business is and whether you can achieve that, but you get the idea of setting a goal for the number of people you're going to speak to throughout the year, and then divide that down into days, and you'll know that you've got to speak to 10 or 50 or whatever it is people per day. Okay, number 5, how many new contacts do you need to get on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, on your email list, and so on, in order to create those leads? So if you're going to make calls, I really hope you're not going to be cold calling people. You're going to be what I call lukewarm calling people. In other words, calling people who you're already connected to on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and people who are on your email list, etc., etc., people that you're already connected to in some way. Then how big and how many do those numbers need to be? So you might want to think about that one. Lastly, and this is one that's often neglected, but if you consider, like I do, that your website really is the backbone of your marketing, and it's arguably your most important marketing, what would a great goal be for the number of people who are going to visit your website, and then really importantly, how much business will that make? So what is your conversion rate, the CRO, conversion rate optimization? So if you get 100 people to your website and that equals one sale right now, what do you need to do to your website in order to increase that number, and what would that number look like? So let's say at the moment, 2018, you got 1,000 people per month to visit your website, so 1,200 people in all. He set a target last year for sales, and you got, let's say, 24 sales last year from your website. And this year, you're going to double that. You're going to aim to double the amount of people. So you want 24,000 people to visit your website, and you want to improve your conversion rate. So we're going to set a goal of, maybe 40 people. You get the idea, I'm sure. So think about that. They're the 6 goals that I've got for you. Obviously, there are other goals, and I strongly recommend you include personal goals in that. And I wish you every success in 2019. I really hope you take action on my podcast, and if you've not yet signed up to my podcast, then please do so, and that'll mean that you get all my updates every time I do a new podcast. They're always full of great ideas and tips and ways in which you can grow your business, so please follow me, and I look forward to sharing with you some more great tried-tested and proven ways you can grow your business in 2019. If you want to know more from me, go to www.stevemills.co. Thanks very much for listening.